Bhutan is a peaceful country that is being dragged into dangerous conflict. The two nuclear powers, China and India, face each other high up in the Himalayas. If Bhutan were not a state but a person, then it would be the kind of person that everyone likes right away. A country that does not first and foremost strive for prosperity, but for happiness. That puts the satisfaction of its citizen above economic growth, and has even written the belief in gross national happiness into the constitution. In 2008, the absolutist monarchy came to an end here, without any bloodshed. Bhutan has been a democracy ever since. It is also one of the few countries that is considered climate neutral. More than 2/3 of its area is forested. That too is a law. Life at over 2,000 meters could be so peaceful if it weren't for Bhutan's neighbors, China in the north and India in the south. Two big giants who care little about the environment and certainly not about luck or happiness, but for those who want to increase their own power and strength. In tiny Bhutan, of all places, these two giants, two nuclear powers too, are wrestling over a question that affects the entire region. Who will dominate the Himalaya in the future? If war should one day break out between the two rivals, then Bhutan and its 750,000 inhabitants could still play a key role. That showed up again in October. China opened a new village in the mountains. Satellite images from the US company Maxar Technologies show around 24 houses along a river. According to a company spokesman, military storage bunkers can also be seen. The report was explosive for two reasons. First, the Pangda village is probably on Bhutanese territory, which China's foreign ministry denies. And secondly, it extends up to a few kilometers from Doklam, a plateau in western Bhutan. There's not much there beside grassland and rubble, but Doklam is of crucial strategic relevance. Both China and Bhutan lay claim to the area. India has always done everything to ensure that the plane does not fall to its rival. Because from up there you can see the surrounding valleys. If Chinese armed forces were to control Doklam, they would allow them, among other things, to cut India's chicken neck in the event of a conflict. This is what strategists call the narrow corridor that connects India with its northeastern states. Beijing, on the other hand, has already offered the government in Thimphu several barter deals. China would give up its ownership claims in northern Bhutan. In return, Bhutan would have to leave Beijing to Doklam, among other things. Bhutan has always refused the offer, presumably out of the consideration for India's security concerns. The neighbor to the south is a close ally. The Indian army trains Bhutanese troops. New Delhi buys large amounts of hydropower energy from Bhutan each year, one of the country's few exports. But many Bhutans are also finding India's embrace increasingly suffocating. They fear that their country, a thoroughly peaceful state, could be drawn into a dangerous conflict. That was almost the case in 2017. At that time, Chinese workers built a road that protruded into Doklam. Indian forces immediately advanced into the region. It took 73 days for the conflict to be resolved. It is still unclear today whether Bhutan called India for help at the time or whether New Delhi acted on its own. 3 years later, the Bhutanese journalist Tenzing Lamsang believes that the Chinese are losing patience with his country. In the summer, China announced that it was claiming large parts of a nature reserve that had not yet been discussed. The news came as a shock for Bhutan. We are now paying the price for Bhutan's refusal to give way in the talks or even to agree to a compromise, Lamsang tweeted. Like many others, he sees the current events as part of a larger drama in which Bhutan only plays a minor role. Since spring, Chinese and Indian armed forces have been facing each other in a different location in the Himalayas. At least 20 Indian soldiers and an unknown number of Chinese soldiers died in a clash. Bilateral relations are worse than they have been in decades. Beijing may have decided that it is time to step up the pressure on Thimphu and Bhutan, that it is better to look the other way than to call for India for help and therefore provoke a conflict. Bhutan's ambassador in New Delhi recently declared that there is no Chinese village in Bhutan. That is wrong for all that is known, but understandable as a reaction, because Bhutan is a dwarf who has to accomplish the feat of dancing with two giants without getting crushed. And if you want to stay informed, please subscribe to my channel, visit my other channels. I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.